Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Secrets for an Inspirational Life. How are you all today? I hope that you are well, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. Here in the United Kingdom, it's actually nighttime, I have to say. So it's evening for us. And what can I say to you? It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride this year, that's for sure. But you know what? I was told this as a child, actually. You have to take the rough with the smooth, and that is life. We have to adapt, we have to make the changes that are necessary to bring us peace and serenity, and not really to look at what other people are doing in their own world, but really look to the world that is there for us and our loved ones. And whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself sane, we have to do. And whatever brings peace to our heart. And that's something that's really important, especially in these times, is to have a sense of peace, which is very difficult at any time in life to find. But whatever it is that we do, we have to try and find peace. And also, I believe what's important and that has helped me in my life is to really surround myself with people that bring me peace to my heart. And anyone really that doesn't do that anymore, I let them carry on in life because we all have an appointed time with each other. And what's important is to spend it in love and beauty. Now, I I'm actually really excited, I have to say to you, and I am so happy because I have the absolute delight of welcoming my guest today, who is the fabulous Yaya Diamond. Now, Yaya is a singer, entertainer, and radio host of Dream Chasers Radio, and she hosts such a colourful array of guests, such as Grammy award winning artists, award winning producers, authors, inventors, and that's to name but a few. She built the station, in fact, on the foundation of supporting others by giving them the opportunity to showcase their talents on the show. And what's really interesting is that Yaya comes from an enriched musical family of multi-platinum and Grammy award winners. Her mum is the queen of high energy, Evelyn Thomas, who has sold over 19 million copies of her hit High Energy, which is one of the most remixed dance songs of this age. And I have to admit, actually, I love that song and I was playing it today in order to get in the mood for the interview. So amazing, actually. Her mum prepared her for the stage since the age of 4. She toured the world with her, singing, dancing, and opening for the likes of Barbara Pennington, Eartha Kit, Sylvester, Michael Brown, and many more. Yaya herself has appeared on many TV programs, such as The World Network, multiple times, and also appearing with well known artists such as Aaron Neville, the former Ladies of the Supremes, amongst many others. Her writing and vocal skills have even commanded the attention of the Grammy board, getting her 8 Grammy nominations for collaboration with Walter Clyde, Orange of the Commodores, and child activist Craig D'Anto, as well as a collaboration with former lead singer of The Temptations, Glenn Leonard. She is an amazing lady with amazing talents, a vibrant soul, I have to say. And today she shares her incredible journey. Welcome, Yaya.
Thank you. Wow, that's a lot.
It had to be said. I had to say all of that.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a real pleasure, I have to say. I was so excited and I really did play high energy. I was getting into the mood of it and I thought, oh my goodness, Yaya's coming on. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. How are things? How are things with you? You're in the States, aren't you?
I am in the States. It's rainy. It's really rainy outside. But it's nice. I like it.
There's something about rain, isn't there, that's quite magical.
Well, it's called water. Without it, we can't sustain life. Well, so I figure it would be good to rain a little bit.
Absolutely. And you know that us British are absolutely obsessed with the weather, and no conversation is complete unless we've mentioned it at least 3 times.
With a cup of tea and no, it's not a cup of tea. It's a spot of tea.
Well, it can be a cup of tea. It can.
Okay, because I was back in the day, it was a spot of tea.
A spot of tea. Yes, a spot of tea. And a piece of cake.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for you to come to the UK, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
You promised you would come and we would have tea and cake together.
We got to, but the thing is I can't go anywhere right now with this whole COVID thing going on.
I know. As soon as we're sort of in a place where we can be a little bit more freer, then you have to come. The door's always open for you.
Thank you. Yep, I definitely am planning on traveling as soon as this whole thing is over.
Yes, yeah, it's true. It's a strange old time, but you've been to the UK, haven't you?
I have. It's been a while, but I have. Yes.
Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit. I always ask my guests this, but I mean, especially you, I have to say, it's going to be an interesting one. You have done so much. So much. I mean, I have to say to the listeners, Yaya has this whole list upon list upon list of all the things that she has done. And I haven't even, I think, had 10% included in all of that. But she's absolutely amazing in what she does. Yaya, tell us a little bit about where it all started.
From the womb. I can't. It's so funny because a lot of people say you've done a lot, and okay, so being born into a family that is in the music industry and who doesn't take no for an answer, you have to be something. It's not you're going to be something. No, you have to be something, and you kind of have to decide about right now. Because if you don't, we will. So, from when my mom had her first hit called Weak Spot back in the 70s. And literally, if you watch the video on YouTube, you can see it, Evelyn Thomas Weak Spot, you'll see that she has a little pouch. And that's because she just gave birth to me.
Oh,
so literally, she gave birth to me. She stayed with me for a couple of weeks, and then she went over to Europe because they called her over to be on it's a TV show. I forgot what it's called. Something Spot Week something. I forget. It's a really big TV show back in the day, and she had to go and do it, and my grandmother was taking care of me, but it was like from that point, my mom was like, I want my daughter to know who I am. My mom had hit after hit her. She didn't just have high energy. She had weak spot, reflection. She had head in the stars. She had high energy. She had, oh my gosh, so many.
She had a lot of hits.
A lot of hits. It wasn't just one. And so she was always gone. And so she said, I need to take, my given name is Kimberly. I am going to take Kimberly on the road with me because I want her to know who her mother is. I don't want her to, not know who I am. And I don't want to give that up just because I have success. And so that's where all that, Barbara Pennington, even Gloria Gaynor knew me since I was 4. And she passed away. I believe last year or earlier this year, but she looked at me like a few years ago when she saw me. She says, "Evelyn's daughter." Oh my gosh. I haven't seen you since you were so little. Look at you. We took a picture together. I was doing the same show she was doing on TV. And it was like, wow,
Oh my goodness. I
it's
mean,
just,
how old were you when you started to go on the road with your mum?
Mom, 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I was 7.
And you went around the world with her?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I can't really remember. I remember telling my mother I wanted to go home and see regular money. Because back in the day, it used to be the pound. The pound used to get really pretty big and you had these huge wallets. It was like if you had 1 pound, it was small, and then 2 pounds was bigger, and then 5 pounds was even bigger than that. It was like it's by the time you got to like 100 pounds, was like a sheet of paper. I was like, this
an A4 sheet.
Yeah. And it was like, you know what? I just want to go back and see $1 that's really small. It's just really tiny. And what is a half penny, Mom? Because I never seen a half a penny. They're asking for a half a penny. So then it was like I would go to the store and get something. It'd be, 1.5 pounds. I'm like, how do you get a half? It was truly confusing. It was really, so every now and again, I would have to go back home and go back to school, but I did have a tutor on the road. So at the age of 7, I was on the road with my mom. My mom was gone at least 8 months out of the year.
Wow.
At least.
And how many years did you do that with her?
Until I was 16.
Oh, a long time then.
Yes, very long, until I was 16. At 16 years old, school kind of got really important to me. And so I kind of slowed down. I was old enough to kind of hang out with my friends. I would stay at my best friend's house when my mom was gone. And so I had people that, and I would go out with her from time to time, but not as much. I didn't want to miss school so much. I graduated a year earlier, I went to college and everything. So I really, really wanted to kind of get an education and be serious about it. I know a lot of people say, well, your mom was, this and that and the other. It's like, when you grow up in it, it's so normal. It's so normal that I don't know if you don't devalue it, but you have friends around you that have this normal life, and you wish that maybe your life would have been just like theirs.
Yeah. It's a funny old game, that comparison game, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It really, truly is. Because I didn't grow up with kids. I grew up with adults. So
did you feel like an adult even when you were young?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I could balance a checkbook at 8.
Really?
I knew how much things were. I had a budget. I had an allowance, which I didn't spend because my mom, I guess I was very ahead of my time. My mom would take care of everything. My mom would give me an allowance. And I asked her one day, why are you giving me money? And she says, well, you should have an allowance like all the other kids. I says, but if I don't need an allowance, why should I have one?
That was very clever.
So she's like, you don't need an allowance. I says, you do everything for me. I go to the refrigerator, there's food. I go to my drawer, there's clothes. I go to my desk, there's books. And I was like, what else does a kid need?
And what did she say? Was she surprised?
She was very surprised. Very surprised. She was like, you're way ahead of your time. I said, necessities is an amazing thing, Mom. I have them all. It's like
it's very wise. But when children grow up like that with adults, as I did, I somehow feel that I grew up, that I was born old. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's like I used to look at children and think, so babyish, and I'm 5.
Understand that. Exactly. Yeah, my mom would send me back home and says, you need to be a kid. I bought you a bike. Very nice, Mom. I'm going to go riding in the park.
I understand. I mean, you need to be a child. It's true. But I think there's a lot to be said for that, because somehow, maybe, I don't know, it's like an old soul.
Yeah.
Because you feel sort of old before your time. And I don't know about you, Yaya, but as you get older, you somehow feel younger in a lot of ways
I
because
do.
do you understand that?
I do. I love roller coasters. So
Yeah.
I found something that makes me run in the park and act stupid. And everybody's looking at me like, look at this woman. Does she know she's an old woman? Does she know she's older? Like, how many times is she going to get on this roller coaster? Literally, I ran
You're not
around
old. Oh,
and
come
got
on.
back. Well, but to young people, I'm old,
Yeah.
right? So I got off the roller coaster, loved it. First time on it, ran right back around, got back in the line.
And what sort of roller coasters are they?
Oh man, Busch Gardens is like, they have like these really big roller coasters, and the one I got on like 5 times in a row was the one that your feet dangle, and it's kind of like these drops, and it goes upside down, and it
Oh
flips
my
and it turns.
goodness.
It's so much fun.
Oh, I couldn't handle it. I wouldn't be able
No,
to handle it. No, I did as a child.
uh-huh.
And then as
I did, but
did
not
you as a
really,
child?
not much. I didn't
Yeah,
really
I did.
have time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as children, it's also fascinating. And then as I got older, I got scared for some reason. So I thought, what the hell are you doing? And you're hanging upside down.
Well,
Oh.
psychologically speaking,
Mm.
there must have been something to trigger you to be scared. You just don't get scared.
Yeah, there must have been. But do you know what? The funny thing is, roller coasters, Yaya, remind me of bridges. And I'm not into bridges either. I don't like
Uh,
bridges. And I think it's the water thing going on underneath. If it's, if it's over water, it's all a bit dodgy, I have to say.
Isn't that funny how you can get on a plane that's like 30, 40,000 feet up
I
in
know,
the air?
but you
Yeah, you
can't get
can't
on a
go
bridge.
across the bridge, okay?
Oh, I know. I don't know. It's crazy. It's funny what the mind does. And if you can conquer certain things, it's all about the mind
Mm-hmm.
when you're overcoming fear, I think, for things like that. I mean, when you started saying that your legs are dangling, I sort of thought to myself, ooh, because I
It
saw
was
this thing with
fun.
the Chinese have this thing. Have you seen it? And they dangle and wiggle and wobble and go upside down, and they're sort of out in the mountains. Have you seen that ride?
No, I haven't. I'd love to see it. You're going to have to send me a link so I
I'll
can
send it
watch
to
it.
you. I'll send it to you. And I'm
Yes,
thinking,
you have
oh
to
my
now. You have
goodness.
to. I want to see it now.
I will send it. I will send it. And I just think, oh my gosh. And it's sort of like an arm, and it stretches out into the mountains, and it's so high, and everyone's flipping out because it's
Mhm.
so scary. But I think maybe you would like that sort of thing.
I don't know. Certain things do scare me. But I don't believe in fear.
What scares you?
Uh, Not doing what I want to do in life.
That's scary.
It's very scary.
Mm, mm.
To die without living, very
Yeah.
scary. Very scary.
I love reading, and I was about 13. And I don't know who the author is of this, but maybe you know this quote. And it's the tragedy of life is not that we die, but that something dies within us while we're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 13, Yaya, and I've kept the motto of that all my life because I think you have to have that spark of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be greater than any fear.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I don't believe in fear
It's an
because it doesn't
illusion.
exist.
Mm,
It
mm.
doesn't exist. It's a it's a rationalization of a future that hasn't happened yet.
Yes. Yeah. And it's an interesting subject because I've spoken to so many people about this and also on the podcast, but in life in general. And I was talking to someone the other day and they said to me, you know what? The basis of everything that we are miserable in life is because we are afraid.
Uh-huh. Of what?
Yeah. And then I suddenly thought, well, actually, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're afraid, let's say, we're afraid to be late. We're afraid to let people down. We're afraid to let ourselves down. We're afraid, what are people going to think of us? We're afraid of death, of life. But in reality, this smoke of fear, it's not really there, is it?
No, it's not. And you were just saying, if I may be so bold to answer all those little questions you said you're afraid to let other people down. Well, that's because you've done that already and you don't want to do it again. That you've let yourself down. Well, that's because you've done that already and you don't want to do it again. It's usually because you've done that already and you don't want to do it again that you're afraid of something, or you've seen or heard about something that happened and that made you scared that it may just happen to you, that one little percent that it could be you, and so you just stay away from it. But in all actuality, people use that and they don't use it sparingly. Of course, a life and death situation would be something that I would be afraid of. Definitely. I mean, fear has to be put in its spot, in context. However, I'm not going to jump off a plane without a parachute. I probably won't jump off a plane with a parachute unless I had to either.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't blame you.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you have those people that's what they do. They want to conquer that fear. I'm not looking to conquer that fear. You know what I mean? I'm good.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not afraid of it. I just don't want to do it. That's not something on my list. And so it's, you got to put fear in its context, but don't be afraid to go after life.
Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes we can be so afraid that we stop living.
Correct.
I'm seeing that more and more.
And that's why I love roller coasters.
Yeah. It's because it's living in the moment.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I can't explain to you why I like them, but it's like being a kid when I wasn't able to,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of reliving something that in a way was lost. And I know you can't go back to being a child, but there is something in all of us, I believe. I don't know about you, Yaya, but there is a child within all of us. And we should never let that go. That feeling of exhilaration and excitement and, getting excited about a leaf that's gone yellow or, small things that actually turn out to be the big things in life.
That's right. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich for me in a movie is amazing.
I've never had that.
You never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and eat it while you're watching a movie?
What's jelly?
It's like jam.
Oh, okay.
Like a preserve.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I might try that.
And jelly in America is jam or preserve.
Oh, it's jam. So peanut butter and jam.
Right. Well, I like strawberry and blueberry jam. Those are my favorites.
Okay.
And a movie.
Do you put it on bread or do you just eat it like that?
Yeah, put it on bread. Eat it, eat it. Have, okay, so you got to have, I like almond milk. So I have a glass of almond milk, peanut butter and jelly with jam, and a movie with a cover. And then I tend to nibble on my sandwich while I'm watching like maybe a thriller or an action movie. It's like the best.
Oh, it's those little things that make a huge difference in our lives, isn't it?
Definitely. It is. It is. To slow down. It's just to slow down. It's not like that's the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my life. No, it's more like slow down, chew, relax, sit back, escape from the world, escape from anything you have to do, and just focus on right now.
And that in itself is like a paradise, even albeit momentarily.
Right. And you need it. You need it.
And how is it, Yaya, that with your hectic life, with all the things that you do, which I'm going to go on to in a moment, how do you find that sort of sanctuary of peace, and how do you sort of chill out?
It's called scheduling.
I know you've got that. I know you have told me about this.
Let me tell you. Okay. Scheduling. I love, I have an app that schedules all of my appointments. I set it up because I only want to do certain things at certain times. It's an amazing thing. I send out a link and people schedule. And
give us an example.
So they may schedule an appointment with me for an interview, and I'll go and say, thank you so much for scheduling with me. Here's the link. Go for it. You schedule yourself. Make sure you put your name in there so I know it's you. We're good to go. Then, I can look on that. It alerts me on my phone. You have a new interview. You have a new schedule. So I'll look at it. And I only schedule 3 days a week. And the other days, like today, I take off to do interviews, to do, phone calls, to catch up on people and things like that. So it's really, really good for me. It's really helped me. It's just a wonderful thing. It's all around wonderful, because it used to take me, if you would take all the hours that I put into scheduling people and talking with people and trying to get the right time and this and that and the other, and then having it all over the place, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays. I had no days off. I had no days. I was going absolutely crazy. So this really, really helped me. I would never give it up. I would scrape and sell something just to have it every year, because it's just that good.
What's the app called?
It's Calendly.
Calendly. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Calendly. Yeah. They do offer a free service for, like, I think it's 1 or 2 schedules that you can get for free. But then you have the paid service. The paid service is wonderful. This is not sponsored. They're not sponsoring me or anything like that. But they do have, like, Calendly has a service where you can actually charge, and people pay right there on the calendar before they even get to you. So some of them can be free, some of them can be paid. It's just a wonderful service, and it takes days off of and hours off of
and
me.
Has it helped you a lot in sort of freeing up some time? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, as an entrepreneur, somebody who does multiple things, scheduling people for interviews is not something I want to bog myself down with, So it's taken, I would say, it used to take me 2 to 3 hours every day to schedule at least 2 or 3 guests on the show. If you take that every day,
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So when I send out that link, that is the only interaction that I have. Now that person has to decide whether those hours are going to be good for them. If it's not good for them, they can get back with me, and then I will go ahead and do a personal schedule with them. But that rarely happens. Very rare that I have to get involved with the scheduling anymore, which is amazing. It's just a wonderful thing. I love it.
I mean, it really organizes things to a point where, when you're sort of doing things like that 2 or 3 hours a day, it overtakes your life.
Well, yes, it does. And think about it. That's not the only thing you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just one thing. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad I don't do it. I'm glad I don't do it anymore. I'm glad.
Yeah. How long have you been into that now?
Calendly? I actually started Calendly the beginning of COVID. Because I said to myself, there is no way I'm going to sit here anymore and do this. I'm going to find a service. So I kind of went online and did my research, watched some reviews. I saw some of the services, but I really like Calendly because, first of all, it was economical.
Yeah.
It was something that I could actually do a year in advance, pay up for a whole year. And it had the services where I could charge, which means that if I can charge and they pay on the calendar, they pay for it. And if they can't make the date, they can reschedule themselves. Which is
what
wonderful.
A good idea.
I know. Hell, I can't make today. There, you know what? That link you go right back in there and just go ahead and reschedule yourself. It's okay. Go right ahead. It's just like, it's wonderful.
It's a fantastic idea, actually.
It definitely is.
It does free up a lot of time. And it's just one less thing to worry about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That is no longer on my list of worries.
Yes,
I don't even worry about that anymore. You know.
Now you do a lot of things, Yaya, and you're a singer and you're an entertainer, and you are a radio host of your own show, Dream Chasers Radio. Tell us a little bit about the things that you do in your radio show.
Well, we do podcasting. I have on recently I just got on iHeartRadio on WCCF. So
well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I have FM and AM radio as well as online with wccf.iheartradio.com, I believe it is. And it comes on every Mondays at 11 o'clock, right before Rush Limbaugh, which is a really good spot. I love that spot. So 11 to 12 Mondays. You can tune in live on wccf.iheartradio.com. And you can also tune in on 100.9 FM and 1580 AM. So I have like 3 different stations that actually broadcast. I have
are they 3 different shows or the same?
No, it's the same show. It's the same show. It comes on at 11. It's all the same show. It's just you have the option of tuning in wherever is more convenient for you.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. If you're not in Southwest Florida where it does air on the FM and AM, you can always tune in at 11 o'clock on Mondays at wccf.iheartradio.com, and it'll come on.
And it will come on anywhere in the world?
Correct.
Well, that's rather handy. That's excellent.
It really is. It really is. I think that people don't realize that, iHeartRadio is still online, and we they not only have terrestrial radio, but they have the online radio stations, which is really good. I love it. It's really wonderful.
Really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, you have an interesting array of people that you interview as well, don't you? You have all sorts of people with all sorts of talents. Tell us a little bit about that.
A lot of people stick to like one subject. We only interview business people. We only interview this. We only interview that. Well, I only interview business people too, but everybody. It's not limited to one type of business. It's limited to, hey, you've done this. You know what it's like. You've made mistakes. Hey, tell my audience.
Yeah.
About this. Hey, maybe we can learn from you. It doesn't really make a difference what industry you're in, as long as it's not, in the sexual industry, because I keep it family oriented. I don't mind. Let's talk about it. You're an author. So how'd that happen? I mean, how do you write? What is your schedule? Did you have some ups and downs? What about writer's block? I mean, I go through all of that. Inventors, tattoo parlors, managers, artists. I mean, because we are all entrepreneurs. We're all out there doing our thing. I want to know about it. And I want people to know, because I was inspired when I started this in 2006. I needed inspiration. I needed that inspiration. And I was kind of lacking on it. I couldn't find people who were going after their dreams. I really wanted to find out, more about myself. And I figured, what's the best way to find out about yourself? If you can't find out about other people and what they're doing, then you don't have a reference point. So I started the podcast. Started a podcast. I was in depression because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't yet clinically depressed, but I was pretty depressed. And when I started this radio show, it showed me that you don't have to be in this mold. You don't have to fit in a box. You can make whatever out of whatever and be whoever you want to be.
And This is such an interesting point, actually, Yaya. So, I mean, a lot of people suffer from depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard all sorts of stories, as I'm sure you have. And life can be tough. But this is what's wonderful, what you're doing, because you turned your life around. And I think we can become depressed if we're not following that course of our destiny, of what we're supposed to be doing in life. I think once we begin to do what we are meant to do, what we were born to do, I think that's the big game changer.
Yeah, it is. For me, it was I had so many talents. Yeah, it was like a bunch of stuff I could do. It was like, overbearing. How did this fit? How did all of these pieces fit together? What is this? It's like, what can you do with this? But I found by the interviews that there are little categories that make up a big genre of things. So me being able to talk, me being able to sing, me being able to do podcasting was in the entertainment field.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'm a complete entertainer as much as I can be. I guess I can actually use all of these talents in the entertainment section or the entertainment segment. And that was the glue that pulled me together, that helped me understand myself.
Was it one of those eureka moments that happened to you that sometimes happen in our lives where you suddenly think, this is it? Or was it a sequence of events, would you
It was a
say?
sequence. It was a sequence. It definitely wasn't something that happened all together, because then I'd be rolling on the floor and screaming, yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was a sequence of things. It was more of a, oh, and a, oh, and a, ah, no way. So that's what it
Gradual
was.
type of revelation.
Exactly. Yes.
And what gave you the courage, Yaya, to just say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to own my own radio show. I'm going to bring in all these fantastic guests. What was it finally that sort of pushed you to do it?
A lot of people have these role models that they didn't know. They have these role models that they never met. They only see them on TV or on the radio. But I watched my mom. I watched her. I watched her do things and go after things and say yes and just roll with it. Hey, you want to do this? Yes. You want to do that? Nope, I can't do that, but I can do this. I watched her, and she never turned down an opportunity that she could fulfill. And that taught me that I could do whatever I believe I could do. And I just figured, why not?
That is actually very poignant, even to have the courage like your mum did, and for you to see her in action. That's also important because we lead by example. Mm-hmm. You can tell someone all day something and for months and for years, but if you actually see someone doing something, that's a completely different thing.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Courage.
Yes.
How would I say this? I believe in courage, but I don't believe that courage is the thing that makes people want to go after things. I think inspiration and imagination is what we lack as adults to go after things. We lose it. If you could imagine yourself doing it, wouldn't you be able to do it? Or if you had the courage to do it, would you be able to do it? Which one makes more sense?
I suppose inspiration comes first and courage comes later. But possibly, I mean, talking for myself only, I would say you have to be inspired, firstly. But then you've got to do something with that inspiration because you have to, for me, I can be inspired. But if there is nothing to push me along, if I'm too afraid to do it, then that inspiration disappears.
Why would one be afraid though? That's the one thing I don't understand. If a person wanted to do something but was too afraid to do it, where's the fear coming from? Is it coming from someone that told you you couldn't? Is it coming from the overwhelming, things that you have to do? Is it overwhelming for you? I mean, where is that fear coming from? It's not something that you just imagined. It's a legitimate fear of something that messed you up, that's keeping you from reaching your destiny and your goals.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about all the people that sadly have so many dreams and die with so many dreams unfulfilled.
Yeah.
It's tragic.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's one of the saddest things. And I've spoken to many people that are older upon my travels through life. And a lot of them have actually said to me, I wish I had danced more. I wish I had the simplest things, sang more. I wish I'd had the courage, to go with the love of my life. And hearing these stories, Yaya, are heart-wrenching because if we are lucky enough, we learn from other people.
Yeah.
And if we are humble enough, I think. What stops people's dreams? I don't know the answer.
I don't either. And it's so funny because I'm listening to you and you're saying, I wish I would have danced more, but they're still alive.
But maybe they can't.
But you can. See, the mind is a wonderful thing, and I've learned this. It's been a few years since I've learned this. Okay, so you can imagine. This is where imagination comes in. This is where the fear comes in as well, because the mind can only replicate what you've put into it. So if you've put in nervousness and fear, you'll get out nervousness and fear. However, if you were to close your eyes right now, so let's do an exercise real quick. I did this exercise before. Okay,
let's do it.
If you close your eyes right now and you imagine yourself and you're looking at a runner's track in front of you, and everybody knows what a runner's track looks like. It looks like it's a quarter of a mile around, or sometimes it's a half a mile around, depending on how big. And you're in your lane, and you got other people standing next to you. They're in their lane. They're in their blocks. And you have on your gear. You can see it. Am I right? Can you see yourself? You're looking the best shape of your life. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Sorry, I forgot to turn that off.
That's fine.
You're in the best shape. You're in the best shape of your life. You look amazing. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You have on your little nice, shorts. Men have on their pants. You know what I mean? You're looking good. All right. You get ready. Yeah. You got yourself in the block. Okay. So you get set. So you put your feet in the block. You're a runner now. You may not be a runner right now, but you are a runner in this particular imagination. Okay. You're a runner. And you can see, and you put your hands out like the runners do. And then you hear the gun go off. At that moment, I want you to go ahead and breathe out for me. You ready? Let's
I'm ready.
do that. Okay, so you're going to go through that whole imagination. So let's all do that imagination right now. So you're in your block.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Get set. Boom. How'd you feel?
Like I want to do something.
Thank you. Your brain can only register what you've put into it, even if it's not real.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a runner. Because at that moment, you're ready to run, even though in this particular body, I can't run.
Listen, I was running.
You see that? You see what I mean? So us as adults have taken the most vital part of ourselves away from ourselves, our imaginations. If you can see yourself doing it, you can do it. You may not be able to do it right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
That's a really good exercise.
It's a very good exercise. It's something that I do all the time. I do that with a bunch of different things. I did that a couple of years ago with my car. I saw myself driving my car. And about 2 weeks later, I had my car.
So is it like a visualization, would you say?
It is. It really is.
Is it also a little bit like attracting to you?
Yeah, the attraction, law of attraction, right? So yeah, it really is. But a lot of people take that out of context. Law of attraction isn't that you're going to sit down and believe that you're going to receive all of these things that you're going to do. No, you have to imagine yourself doing it. And once you put in your brain that you are going to do this and you're imagining yourself doing this, your brain automatically. Watch this. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? What's 1 + 1?
2.
Why did you answer me?
Why did I answer you?
Yeah.
Because you asked me.
No, I asked you what's 1 + 1. You didn't have to say it out loud. So see, that's the thing. Everybody said 2 in their brains.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world that's listening to this right now said 2, right? If you know how to add, 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then how come we can't add things to our lives that enrich us at that moment? See, your brain was already figuring it out the moment you heard it. The moment that you know, the moment that you know you want to do something, if you imagine yourself doing it, you visualize yourself doing it, your brain will automatically find the solution to get there. It's not going to be one huge step. It's going to be little tiny steps. Okay, got that done. Check. Little tiny step. Got that done. Check. That's how things happen. I didn't become a iHeart radio host overnight. This took years.
But you had consistency and
correct.
You must have had a vision.
I did.
On the horizon of where you were going.
I wanted it. I saw it. I worked my way to it. I imagined it. I visualized the steps. I got there. It took me years, but I'm here.
So is it also a matter of discipline, Yaya?
No.
You wouldn't say so.
I know I'm controversial, right? It's not discipline.
No, it's good.
It's not discipline. I don't like discipline.
What is it then?
It's consistency.
Okay, consistency. Because
discipline means you're rigid. It means you're not changing, you're not moving. Discipline is one regimen. It's just this is the discipline. It's just this. This is what it is. Consistency just means that you keep at it. And then when you need a break, you take a break. And then you go back to it. If you need a short break, a day or two to kind of get away from it, you get away from it. Consistency just means you keep at it until, and it may change the directions you may have. I've hit a lot of dead ends and had to go back to where it was working to start from that point to move forward again. I never really go all the way back to the beginning, I just go back to the point where it just stopped working and then just go
Yeah.
forward. Discipline to me, it seems like a word that limits a person in what they can and can't do. But consistency, joy, happiness, being happy and consistent, finding different ways to do things. That's just, it's just happy. It's just life. It's just, that's why it's Dream Chasers Radio. It's your dream. It's your goal. It's your baby. You know what I mean? You take good care of it. Sometimes you want to give that baby to somebody else and take a break. That's your babysitter right there. That's when you get out of there. So, it's just, so it's like, but definitely it's not discipline. I don't really like that word. It just reminds me too much of a rigid person or someone that just doesn't want to change. Consistency
in a way, like
an
army,
yeah,
like an army type of sort of
correct.
Situation.
I think that I think burnout might come with discipline. I think I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand it. And sort of consistency is more sort of free flowing. The river. It's more the river leading sort of to the ocean. Yeah, I understand that. I actually, funny you say that, because I know a few people, my grandfather included, I have to say, he was very disciplined, but he was ex sort of army, and he was rigid in a lot of ways, because it taught me a lot, actually. I spent a lot of time with him. It taught me a lot, and it taught me a lot about myself. But within that, I always found this free-flowing sort of crazy gypsy type of personality that I am, because I had to find my own flow.
Right.
So I understand totally what you mean about the discipline. There's different views on it, like martial artists would say, well, you have to be disciplined and, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But I think for people that are artists like ourselves, it is different.
I got another monkey wrench to throw in there. I'm a 4th degree black belt. I am. And so I again, discipline for me, that's why I think of it as a rigid thing, because karate, being a karate person, it's rigid. It's discipline. That's discipline. Yes. I couldn't run my business like that. Couldn't do it. I would not be happy.
Yeah. I used to do judo. I did it for many years, and that's completely different because it's more of a ground level sport. Right. Whereas karate, you can protect yourself. Right. It's a self-defense, but judo is more a sport. So, no one's going to say, stand there and let me throw you over my shoulder type of thing. It's one of those. But I love martial arts.
Me too.
And there's something about it that's quite beautiful, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. It's and I've had to use it to protect myself.
Have you really?
I have. I have. And sadly enough, the other person has benefited in the negative. But it saved me,
You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So that's why I call it rigid. I couldn't be who I am and be disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I kind of, the karate girl just comes out and goes, no, it's a totally different thing, when you're doing your own business, when you're running when you're singing, when you're performing, or you're on your podcast. It should be free flowing. You should have a guideline, but it should be able to be flexible enough to go with the times.
Very, very true. And I think, if we have change in our life and in our surroundings, we have to somehow adapt, and we have to become flexible in that. And I remember, do you remember the program, Yaya, Bewitched?
Oh, yeah. Dig it.
Yeah, I love that. And I Dream of Jeannie. I love those.
Yeah.
It was just like magical. Now, do you remember Endora, who was Samantha's mum?
Yes.
In Bewitched. I thought she was fascinating. She was so extravagant.
Yeah.
And when Samantha, and for the listeners out there, it was an American series about a lady who was a witch, but she and her mother, of course, was, and then she married a mortal, so to speak, which was like human at the time. It was called Bewitched. And when Samantha was marrying Darren, or Darren, whatever his name was, the husband, and her mother just didn't understand. And I never forget this. And she sat on the roof, as you do, in all her sort of opulent, magnificent colours and everything that she used to wear. And she said, Samantha, I don't understand why you would want to do that. And she said, oh, but I love him, And she said, but we are made to be free. We are made to run through waterfalls and dance on rainbows. We are not meant to be constricted. And this is how I see artists. This is how I see myself and you and all of us who have this artistic heart. We are meant to be free. And, artists sort of, they say, take from heaven something and bring it to the earth for other people to see, which is a beautiful gift.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful gift. Now, tell us a little bit about your projects at the moment and where you are now. What are you doing at the moment?
Well, right now, my office needs to be cleaned. I'm just kidding. Right now, well, that's the next project. Right now, what I'm doing is I have a few edits that I have to do as a podcaster. Behind the scenes, you got to edit some things and put some things out. And, I have my magazine, Diamond Magazine, coming out between the 15th and the 20th of December, which will be online. And that'll be a double magazine because I got a lot of people in that magazine that I'm going to be starting to edit this week.
What's the magazine called?
Diamond Magazine.
Diamond. Okay, Diamond Magazine. And that's going to be available when?
Between the 15th and the 20th. I'll put it up on my Facebook page on Dream Chasers Radio. So, yeah. And then Diamond Magazine on Dream Chasers Radio as well. I mean, on Facebook as well and dreamchasersradio.com. I'll put it up there. So it's going to be a double magazine. It's really cool. It features, a lot of people I've interviewed this year that I'm just loving what they're doing from the ages of, believe it or not, 12 all the way up.
Wow.
All the way up.
My goodness. So it's like a showcase of all the people that you've interviewed.
Correct. Yeah. It's a showcase of all the people and where you can find them. You don't know. People take advantage of things that understand what the advantage is. But then you have the people that think there is nothing to this. But those people could be a mentor. Those people could be your inspiration. It could be an article that's in there, a bio, a link, or you contact them, you ask them one question, and all of a sudden you take off,
Yes.
So it's very important to showcase, people doing things and accomplishing goals at every age.
Absolutely.
You're never too old unless you're dead. Then you're way too old.
Yeah. But it's too late anyway. And
it's too late.
Yeah, we've got to try while we are alive and to do everything that we can to feel alive and to actually, not just to exist, but to really live our life to the fullest. Yaya, it's a pleasure, really. And wow, I could talk to you forever, really, about all sorts of subjects. Oh, my goodness. I really could. You're such an interesting person. And I ask my guests this always at the end. Tell me, first, before I forget, where can people get hold of you and find out about all the wonderful things that you do?
Wow. Okay. So You can go to dreamchasersradio.com, dreamchasersradio.com. We actually have to update the website because new things have transpired last week. So we got to kind of catch up with that. Also, yayadiamond.com. And you can just type in my name, Yaya Diamond, on Google in the search bar, and you'll get a few pages of things, and you can find me anywhere pretty much.
Okay. And people are free to contact you.
Correct.
At any time.
At the contact page on my websites. Yep. Mm-hmm. I personally see those. I check my emails 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay. Wonderful. And the next thing I was going to ask you is what I always ask at the end of the show is words of inspiration, the word of the night. Some words of inspiration, Yaya, that have helped you in life and that you feel would be apt for the listeners out there at this time.
I think I say that every time my show ends, and I don't think anybody really kind of pays attention to it. And some people do. But at the end of every show, I say, and don't forget to dare to be different. I used to be called different all the time at school. And you got to realize I was hardly at school. So when I went to school, you're so different. You're so weird. And I would say thank you. It was because a lot of the kids would make fun of me, oh, she thinks she's it because of her mother. She thinks she's all of that. My mom put me in public school, y'all. Okay. So she put me in public school because she said, you got to be able to defend yourself. You're not going to be this, stuck up little brat that goes to private school and all these Ivy League schools. You're going to go to regular school. So I went to regular school for a lot of my years, and a couple of my years I went to private, but for the most part, I went to public school. And so being different was very important to me because, my best friend, she was cool. And I did want to be like her, like a normal kind of person. But everybody else was really, truly weird. They did stupid things and things that would, endanger themselves. And they would lick each other and just things that I just never...
They would what?
No, they did. They would lick each other. They had licking wars with each other. Okay. It was like, yeah, that's nasty. All right. So it was like, you're so different. You don't want to play with us. You don't want to go out to the clubs. When I got older, you didn't want to go out to the clubs. No, I work at the clubs. You paying me to go? Are you going to give me money so I can go to the club? The only reason I'm going to go to a club is if I get paid to go to the club. You're so weird. You're so different. I said, no, you don't understand. I grew up in the clubs. I don't want to go there for recreation. I don't want to do that. I want to go home. Sure. I want to stay home, you know? And so daring to be different became something that was really cool for me. And so I always tell people, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how out of place you feel, that's your talent. That's your talent pulling you away from the masses. That's your skill pulling you away from the people that you shouldn't be hanging around with in the first place. So go ahead. I dare you to be different. I dare you to be different.
And that's one hell of a line. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Wow. Daring to be different. That's powerful. Very powerful. I'm going to think about that.
And then you can get on the roller coaster with me?
Only if you come to England and have some tea and cake, a spot of tea.
Well, a spot of tea. A spot of tea.
And then we'll find a roller coaster somewhere here.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, that's the deal.
Okay, we'll do that.
Oh, thank you so much, Yaya. It's been fabulous to have you, and you are such a delight, really.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be on. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much, really. It's an honor to have you, and please come again anytime.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anytime you want me, just let me know.
All right, then. Take care.
All right, you too.
All right, speak soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Yaya Diamond. What a joy, really. Amazing lady. And it really does help to be around positive people each moment of our life. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Until next time, look after yourselves, take care, and lots of love.
Thank you for listening to Secrets for an Inspirational Life, brought to you by your host, Mimi Novic. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast and see you in the next episode. For more information about Mimi Novic and her books, music, and inspirational work, take a look at her website, www.miminovic.co.uk.